I think it has developed an affection for.
Good morning. Good morning, friends. Today we're gonna another sit down chat. It's cause outside there, not too not too warm, so we'll stay inside here in the garage. Something that come to mind there. Look at some. One of the guys there, Tractor Man 44. Some of you's never seen this guy in operation. He's not a youngest guy in there, but he's full of heart. He's a guy that knows many trades, and he's skillful. My mindset, okay, we'll start like this. Well, the whole thing evolved around, okay, like, here we go. I seen this on my workbench here, It's a tin banger's hammer, okay? Well, I've always had, like, I never minded endeavoring on somebody else's trade. So, and I always felt that if you're going to do somebody else's work, well, you buy the tools to do the work, and then you're on your way. But that's just the beginning. You have to acquire the skills yet, and there's tricks to everything. When I was young, we used to make bodywork on cars, and I do the bodywork, and I'd paint them, and it turned out like they were one of the big job I did was, but one of the stock cars we painted it. It was they called it then. They called it pearl white. It's white like you see on the Cadillac. It's got a pearled accent to it, let's say. And we had, I think, 4 clear coat on that. But the stock car was going to the car show here in Ottawa. We had got 4 wheels on them, on the car, chromed. They're just stock car wheels, but we got them chromed, and we did a super job on the body, paint job, and body job too. Take everything out, make it like really straight. Anyways, it's today is not to talk about bodywork, but it's to talk about the trades and the skills that one has to acquire, and how through the ages, I was going to say through time, won't be ages, because it's not been centuries that I've been acquiring. But to acquire skills of another trade, well, first you have to look at the guys that know what they're doing. And some guys know what they're doing, but they're so fast and so sneaky with what they're doing that you won't pick up all the different tricks to do what they're doing. It's just like bodywork, Like anybody can do bodywork. I seen guys there slap a bunch of Bondo on cars, and they 2-3 months later, or during the winter, they figure they can sand this down. You better take a grinder and a grinding disc with some 40 grit and go to it and take it all off and start all over again, Like there's a procedure. Every job has a procedure. It's just like Tractor Man 44. I look at him doing some duct work. Well, first of all, like I see him do, and I'm not too good at this, is making a print. Okay? You make a print, then you execute what you've drawn down, and all your measurements have to be on there, all your different, as you bend it, you form lock it, all that different process has to be, and so the little switch in there has to be on, It's very seldom that you can do work without having the work, tradesman's work, without having the little switch on the on position. Just the more basic jobs will permit you to have it off, but I don't know. You'll find that with time, the more remunerating jobs, you'll have to have your thinking cap on. I've had some guys, I don't know that I'll endeavor into this topic, guys who were working for me, and I had a lot of different guys over the time, and some of them were on drugs, and it wasn't good, and they didn't last. See, like I found I had pity on the guys, because it's too bad when you see somebody deteriorating to that point. One case in particular, when I was young as a tradesman, I worked with this guy, and this guy was maybe around almost 10 years older than me, and him, it was drugs and beer.
If you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you.
This guy spent his life at a hotel drinking till 1-2 o'clock in the morning, and the next day he'd get up and he'd go back to work, and that's his life. Yeah, everybody everybody can do what they want, but you get the rewards of what you've done too, eh? Anyway, I started this thing. Where are we going with this? I was just saying that you learn from the older guys, and you learn by looking at people doing what you want to do. If you always keep an eye, if some interests you, well, you keep an eye, and I learned I can do about anything I want to do in most things, okay? And some of them, I just learned looking at somebody. Plumbing. I used to work in apartment buildings when I was young, and the plumbers, and they're doing the drains, and they're welding, soldering the different fittings, and they're putting it all together, and you ask questions to these guys. So, one guy told me one time, he says, the most important thing when you're putting your pipe together is don't put your fingers on it, because you got oil, eh? And you clean, and you put the kester on there, and then you set it all up as not just one piece. You set up 5, 6, 10 pieces one after the other, and you put little stand legs there to hold it at the right height, and then you go with your torch and you solder it. Anyways, learn how to do plumbing that way, and everything that I learned like that. I'm not better than anyone else. I try, and I do it. Sometimes it's not a success, the first time you do it, but then you learn with your errors. That's being able to admit that you made an error. That's a big thing too, this whole topic came to mind. When I was young, I was first year apprentice. I was 18 years old, and I first started to work with an old guy. Came to mind there. I remember somebody, I think it was Steve Robb, that said something about knob and tube, the wiring, or it was somebody else, but it was on that same particular video that I had made, and I think it was on grounds or grounded neutrals. Anyway, and so I was working with this old guy. We'll call him, this was his real name. His name was Leo. I won't tell you his second name, but Leo, okay? And, Leo was an electrician. He had a ticket, but those guys in those days, I call it learning on the pile. Like you have a pile, and the guy's on top, and sometimes he slips from one side to the other, but he learns. He learns how to get by. He learns how to do the work. This guy didn't know most of what he was doing, the why. He didn't have a three-way switch, okay, or a four-way. He couldn't come to even try to explain it to you. A three-way switch, he couldn't explain to you how come it worked. But he knew what to do to make it work. Hey? And one time I was I still remember this because I said, I won't use all the words that came to mind then, but it was a little fan motor, okay? You know, in the washrooms, they don't pull no air. All they do is they make noise, eh? So this fan motor's turning the wrong way. So I said, how do you? I was just young. I had a first year apprentice. So I said, how do you change that? He said, just unplug it and turn it the other way. When I went to school, I found out what kind of motor that was. They call that a shaded pole motor, but we're not into motor courses today. But it's just, this guy had no clue how that worked, that shaded pole motor. All he knew was that it worked. And this thing about taking the plug and just plugging it in the other way, that didn't work. Yeah. But he couldn't explain it. For him, take the motor, throw it away, and the biggest problem with that motor is the base part of the motor was assembled upside down. So, anyway, I won't bother. Start to get into that. But anyways, it's just to say that in yesteryears, people were grandfathered into their trades, and they didn't have all the smarts. They were smart people. They learned, but they didn't know all the details. And even I don't pretend to be somebody I'm not. Like sometimes I try to explain things, and it doesn't get out. Like I have a lot more in here that comes out of here, so I can't get it out, or it wouldn't make sense if I say it. Like it doesn't add up to something that's tangible and that you can learn. So after that, I feel like I did a bad job. But anyways, I still have one that I want to redo on these little talks. I want to redo the one on the grounded neutrals. I want to have some kind. I'm not going out to buy a blackboard to make videos. No. Yeah, me have a few chunks of paper there that I can show. One of those white blackboards with the markers. My daughter's got some on the farm. In the milk house, like the guys, if they need something like the gloves and paper or whatever, they just write that on there, and then they have an eraser and they wipe it off. But I'm not gonna buy that. But I have another one on grounding the neutrals, and but I still have to make a test to see if what I'm thinking is going to end up with the results that I'm thinking. I want to make a video. This is gives you an eyeball on what's coming up, eh? I want to make a video on safety on the work sites and safety at home too. But see, first you gotta take a look at my garage, eh? And now you know why I'm that safe. I'm not the safest guy around. Like one of my pet peeves, if you want to call it, is when you get a grinder. Like this is it's maybe 2 years old. This grinder. When you get a grinder, first thing you do is you take off the shroud. This is not for everybody, eh? But that's what I do. See, here's another one. Hang on. Yeah, you see them here, eh? See, this is another one, eh? There's no guards there because if you had a guard there, you wouldn't be able to do half the work that you gotta do with these things, eh? So if you have to have a guard on those grinders, well, maybe you shouldn't be using the grinder at all. That's quite a statement, eh? Okay, hey, if you ever get hurt, it's not my fault. It's your doings. You're the one. You didn't take care. You didn't take the precautions. I do. I know. Okay. I won't get into this. See, if I start, then first thing you know, I'll be endeavoring into the safety video. So I don't want to do that. But anyways, there's enough said for this one. It lasts for half an hour and people are bailed out before it's over. Okay, that's it. I said enough for today. I had fun doing this. Don't know what I tackled. I know I tackled Leo there with the little motor. That always stood in my mind, eh? How simple. Like if that guy would have known about a shaded pole motor, he would never said such a thing. It was ridiculous to think that you could reverse just by turning the plug the other way. You could reverse that motor, but he didn't know, and I guess he got the same pay we got. Well, I was getting less because I was an apprentice, but he was getting the electrician's pay, but because he had enough knowledge to do the electrician's job. But as I got older, I went to school. I acquired knowledge that these guys didn't have. Like they could work on house wiring, eh? But you couldn't send them in a control panel and like to wire control panel. That's one thing. But then when you go to troubleshoot it, then you gotta know more than the guy that wired it. I'll leave you hanging because we can't talk about everything today. We have to keep some for a rainy day. We'll call it the shutdowns. That's another good one too, eh? The shutdowns. That's when there's a shutdown, mister. You better have some haywire on the toque, because then the heat's on and you gotta put things together. But that's another thing for another day. Had fun doing this, and I hope you liked the ride. Don't forget that you gotta look ahead, and you'll see that the better ones are up there somewhere. I salute you all, and we'll see you in the next one.